Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Divine Business, where I feature and help Christian entrepreneurs build and elevate their God partnered businesses. And in today's episode, we welcome Shana Epps, sobriety, health, and wellness coach. I am super excited to have you with us, Shana. Tell us a little bit about you and the work you're doing now.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for having me on. First of all, I love all of your stuff. I am somebody who struggled with alcoholism and addiction for almost 2 decades of my life. I'm 39, so that is a good portion of my life. And I really had tried everything: rehab, sober livings, counseling, like, you name it, I've done it. And I could get sober, I could never stay sober. And I really thought, even though I've believed in God my whole life and I've went to God my whole life, I kind of thought it's just a struggle I will always have, right? Something I'm not able to get over because I felt like I had tried everything. I felt like everyone had kind of given up on me, right? And I ended up moving back to my small little tiny hometown, and I was kind of just giving up, right? My ex-husband had just passed away, and he was super healthy, never drank, never did anything like that. So I was like, well, if he's passed away, then I'm definitely on my way out. I was having early stage liver failure. I was really, really going down. And again, I just felt super hopeless. So I moved back home and was like, at least I'm close to my parents so that my kids have someone to be there for them more, because I knew that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And it just so happened that one of my old friends was like, hey, come to an AA meeting with me. And I was like, absolutely not. I've been to AA numerous times. It doesn't help. It hasn't worked for me. Now, mind you, I had worked in treatment for numerous years too. So, head full of knowledge, belly full of liquor.
Yeah.
I knew all the things, but I could not stop relapsing. And um, I, I told him no, and he was like, well, we'll go out to eat first. And I was like, okay, food. I'm game. I'm game. And I ended up going to this AA meeting with him. And first of all, it was a different type of AA meeting than I had been in the almost 20 years that I had been doing this stuff. There were people that were like more my age. There was just a variety of people. It was just completely different. It wasn't super strict like some other ones had been. It was just like an okay environment where I wasn't super anxious. It was just different. And I don't, this is why I tell people, try different ones, try
Yeah.
different things. Um, so I went to this meeting, and someone I met there told me about a medication. And it's crazy because I had worked in treatment for years and I had never heard of this shot called Vivitrol. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? Well, a lot of times in certain organizations, people kind of look down on medication or different forms other than what they're used to get sober. So it wasn't something I had ever heard of. And I ended up going to talk to my regular primary care doctor the next day, and she told me I had to stay sober for 4 days. And I was like, okay, I got you. I'm good at that part, right? I can go do that. I can go detox, which I had done that a million times. And when I had done it in the past, I had had seizures and super, super bad experiences. So I got medication to do that and to do it safely. And I ended up doing that, getting on the medication, and it has been 3 years. So 3 years continually without even really like cravings for alcohol or even really the thought of alcohol. I think about alcohol now and I'm like, my life is so good, so good that I wouldn't dream of messing it up for something that made me so miserable. And for anybody who's been in that loop, you know that at some point it's no longer making you happy, but you still have to continue doing it for some reason. Like, it makes no sense at all to anyone who's not in it. So the last 10 years of me drinking, I never had fun. I was sick. I was throwing up all the time. I was in bed all the time. It was super not fun. I was drinking just to function. So, in this last 3 years, I have made it my mission to work with women, especially women who have a strong spiritual connection with God, who really want to get sober and feel like they're not able to, or feel too embarrassed to even sometimes talk about it. I think the stereotype or the thought is that somebody who's an alcoholic is like, homeless or jobless and all of these things. And a lot of times it's the person that you see at church that is like scraping themselves out of bed, taking a drink before they get there just to stop the shakes.
Yeah.
And it's your everyday people, and
Mm.
people are dying from it. So
Yeah.
that's just, it's become my passion, working with people and being like, hey, even if you've tried a
Yeah.
million things,
Yeah.
there's something you haven't tried.
That's
There's
so good.
something that you haven't tried.
I love that you are taking, I think of John 10:10, right? What was meant
Mhm.
for harm has been turned to good, and you're using it, and you know God is behind that. When, of course, you're not only helping people overcome addiction, but then also doing it with God in mind. And I love that. I love that about you. Now, we're going to get you guys. So now you've kind of seen the stage, you know what it is she does. And I've actually watched her grow. She's not a client of mine. I've just watched her grow. But that we're going to highlight her work at the end and kind of lead people to her, because I want that show to be about elevation and featuring. I think as Christian entrepreneurs, we don't always get a platform. She doesn't necessarily faith forward speak her platform. She's just sort of gently bringing it into her clients. And so it's even more important that she has space to, I think, get out there. So you are literally going to be on TV, right? So we're
Oh,
grateful of that. That will be at the end. And she's got some really cool free things for you to jump into. But we're also here to try to get her to the next level.
yes.
So, first of all, let's hear a win in your business. And then I want you to share with me, what your struggle or what your next thing is that you're kind of wanting to do. So, what is your favorite win of all of your stories when you started your business? Let's hear.
My favorite win is my very first client that I got after I opened up my program. And that is just because it really was a God thing. It was somebody who was in my women's group I had been kind of talking to and just nurturing beforehand, right? And that's the thing with my clients is like, I love them whether you like pay and work with me or not. And I still, because I do a
Yeah.
free first call, I try to give you a plan that really will work with you and help you
Regardless.
to get there.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite thing, is that it started
Good.
out as that. And then she came back and was like, no, I need like the one-on-one help. And it is so helpful to have somebody like on your back,
Yep.
but also supporting you, right? But
So
in this
true.
kind of case, you need somebody to kind of be on you like, hey,
Yeah.
are you praying? Are
Yeah.
you getting out and using your coping skills? Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. Well, I really love that this is your win, because it is affirmation, especially for people who might be listening to this who are new in their practice or maybe just thinking of it. When you truly get that in that sweet spot, I call it, of your work, you can see the fruit of it. And
Mhm.
she right out of the gates was seeing with her very first client. And that happened with me too. And I'll say to everyone, it wasn't like out of nowhere, I just had thousands of dollars and thousands of clients and I was reaching tons of people. But with the first thing that came was a client and transformation, just like with her. So now let's go ahead and get people up to speed. So she's got a program up and running now. She's got a website. She's got her social platform that's growing. But I'm here to help you. So what is something that you're like, Niccie, this is what I want. This is what I need help with. Where are you at?
So I really need help with scaling and building my business, and I already kind of know part of what the block is. And for me, it's that I don't know if I was born to be a saleswoman. Like, I love what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm doing, and I know that I've, paid for certifications for all my stuff, my services, all of that. Um, but it's hard to be like, I want to help you, but you also have to pay me. So I think that I very much shy away from my
Yeah.
offer a lot.
Okay. All righty. So I love that people are listening to this. And this is a very, very common entrepreneur thing that holds people back. So, first of all, you had said, I think you said, pay people for my services. Think of it as serving, not selling. And that
Yes.
switches us. So if we're going about it, your natural instinct was you said for my serving, you said that word. And I'm for my services. Like when we think it's just product, it's a little hard to wrap our brain around it, right? But when you really think you're serving, now there's sometimes people listening that are in our space, super maybe religious, and that is offensive because they're thinking, wait a minute, if God's calling you to serve, how can you ask for money for that? Right. So I
Right.
need to ask, I'm going to talk about two different things. So first of all, you're going to be up against issues if you're constantly thinking about, I have to promote this, I have to market this, wipe all those things out of your brain. And what you have to do is serve. And the best way to take your business to the next level financially and reach wise is to serve as many people as possible. Your scenario that you gave of like doing the private session first, that already worked, right? God showed you what worked and now you multiply it. So you need to get in front of the masses. Now, I do believe you just now are setting up a webinar. Now, is it paid or free?
It's free.
Okay, so you're already going to be doing, is this your first one?
It is my first big one. I did one that was super small and I wasn't really, but this is,
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm in
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so what you're doing naturally already is so good because that's what you're doing. You're going to be serving them in this webinar and they're going to get know, like, and trust with you. And I've been in so many webinars, Shana, where people just talk at you. Go look at your slides, look at all your stuff there. And my best advice is it is not a slideshow talk at. It is
Okay.
a serve. So break them up. Go down deep, ask someone to be in a hot seat, let them see you at work serving the way Jesus did. He sat with people, he listened to them, and he drew a line in the sand. So
I love that.
when you have these people in your master class or your webinar that's free, um, tell them that. Say like this, I want you to get a feel of what it's like to be coached with somebody that cares about you. Like paint the picture for them. Now, the next thing is you're going to see this story of the talents thing. Like God gives us a little and he watches to see how we steward it. And if we're good, right, it's blessed. It's not like you're penalized if you're bad and it's
Right.
just the facts. It's the facts. Listen, the world has a handle on it. They call it karma. Well, we don't call it karma. We call it, blessings, or it's effects of our poor choices, right?
Right.
So anyway, you've already been doing it right. Keep that pattern going. Let's talk about scaling. I think that was the word that I heard when I texted you. And so once you do this first masterclass or webinar, whatever you call it, I know it's going to be good. Once you do the first one, then you're going to have to decide, and I would suggest go slow, but you're going to have to decide, okay, so I had 20 people in there, or I had 6 people in there, whatever. And then you realize how many joined, right?
Mhm.
So now you think to yourself, okay, I handled this. Let's say 6 new people join. Okay. So you get them in there, you take care of them. Don't immediately do another masterclass. Be a good steward. Let the Lord see you steward these people well. Then set your next one up. And now you've got wins to talk about. Now you're more confident, whatever. So now you do another one. And then you look at your kind of plans and goals. So when we first get started, like we might do a masterclass or a webinar and it might profit $20,000, $30,000. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so great, right?
Yeah.
Now you plan it and you think, okay, in a year's time, if I did one every quarter, that's going to be about $100,000, give or take, maybe 80, maybe 120, right? But you might think, okay, that's kind of your game plan. And we used to do that a lot in this business, is help you think of the math. Don't do that. Think of service. So what you want to do is think to yourself, okay, how much bandwidth, how much energy has the Lord given me? How often can I do these? And if it's only 6 months, then increase your marketing efforts, but only bring them in every 6 months. If it's every month, start doing a webinar every single month, because now it's not about the money. It's now $20,000 or $30,000 every month. Okay, well, now we're talking $200,000 or $300,000,
Right.
for the exact same behavior, the exact same marketing strategy that we know works. So, but don't get money off your mind, and get service on your mind, and steward the people that you have really, really well. Okay, so there's one other thing that I want to talk about, and that's kind of the money aspect, in terms of, could it be holding us back in more of a religious way? Like, I don't know if I should make money off these, and how do I talk about that, right? Well, we have to think about things interestingly. For one, let's take the church. Why does the Lord say you should tithe when you go to church? If you shouldn't, because the church needs money to do its work, right? The work of the church is what? To feed people, to teach and pastor, to go take care. We have salaries to pay for. Why is that any different? We need money to do this work. And if we don't have a profitable business, we're not going to be able to continue to grow. We'll be like the story of the talents, where we bury it. We're still carrying on our days, but we're not multiplying that money. And so that's what I really want you to think. And when people try to push that up against you, the thing is, you don't want to use sleazy sales tactics, right? You want to keep service as your focus, and then look at what works. The Lord already showed you that sitting down with somebody one-on-one, giving them stuff for free works. And so then they came back. And so that's what doing this, evolving it into a bigger way with a masterclass or webinar, is perfect. But I want to talk about, I wonder if I can put this up. All right. So this, I think, Shana, is really going to help. This is called the 5 Levels of Legacy. This is really how I run my business and how these entrepreneurs grow. And you want to think of identity at the bottom, and you probably take yourself back. When you were first getting started, kind of when I first met you, you had worked with another coach. You'd been kind of hanging out with me. Did you go to a webinar of mine at one point? Or did we just do a talk show? Just talk show. And we were going to set this one up. Yep. So identity is at the bottom. And that's when you're figuring out your branding and your messaging, because we know this happens. People will go and they'll try to talk and share who they are and what they do, but they're not staying in one lane. And so it's confusing Instagram. It's confusing. There are people that maybe follow a post. Maybe if they do a blog, even if they go to their website, they're going to see different things. And as we start to really understand how God has called us, God has called us to, how he's called us to work with those people, then we're just wasting efforts. You could spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on marketing, social media marketing, or coaches. And if you're not clear on your messaging, it's just not going to work. And I watched you get clear on Instagram, and I watched your followers just boom, 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 boom. And I love that. So then so we're good there. The next one then is systems. This is probably the one that catches most of the entrepreneurs that I work with up. And this actually, systems and marketing, kind of runs between that $50,000 to $100,000 range. At the identity, those are new entrepreneurs. They're probably not even making money or near none. But when we get to systems, we've got now some funnels, we've got some processes that are working and bringing in some clients. And if we're stalled out there, it's usually our systems. This means that the funnel has glitches. We all have these. We have to test. And so much that even when you catch a funnel or a system that's not working, you've all seen this on some of the best emails. Whoops, I forgot my link, comes the second email from the best of the best, right? So it's okay. But the problem is if you're not catching them and you're not fixing them. But before any funnel goes out, go into a new incognito window, test that thing, bring the price down to $1. If at the end of it includes a price, bring it down to $1. If there's a test option, but it's hard to do for new people. So just make the price $1. Go in there and do it yourself. Go through the whole process as a client in an incognito window. The reason why is you'll have cookies inside of your web things. And so it won't work right. It might work and really it wouldn't have. So go in an incognito window, test the whole funnel. Then be asking them, hey, how smooth was that? After you're done working with someone, fix anything you can. Those systems make everything happen. Now, right before you get into marketing, your system is so important because if it's good, what you can do is start to next level by changing your client, not necessarily your avatar, but the pain point. So I'm just going to say this. I'm going to try to use a scenario for you. It's easy for me, but I'm going to try to use one for you. Let's say that we know your niche. It's women. That's good. You probably get a man here and there, and that's fine. You talk to women though. And then it's also for sobriety, right?
Right.
But what if somebody is a party girl and she's 20, young 20s, right? And you meet with her, you have this funnel, you're speaking to that girl, the scenarios, the pain points on the sales page, in the funnel, in your slides, in your marketing, you are speaking to that young 20-something, right? That looks different than to the woman who is 45 years old, kids are gone, husband's passed away, she's alone in the home, she's empty, nobody even knows she's dying. Now you need to speak to her differently. And I'm just saying, when you're ready to really multiply, then you duplicate your funnels and you might have 2 or 3 exactly the same funnels, but you switch out all of your messaging. So when I talked about that scenario of you doing maybe a masterclass every quarter, maybe the first one is for the young 20-somethings and you're really speaking to them. Now, if you speak to everyone, that's fine. That's what you do when you start out, kind of. But you have to admit, drawing them in as clients is going to be a trickle effect because your messaging is sort of talking to a little bit of this person, a little bit of that person. And if you go all in on a young person and you hit those pain points and you know exactly where they've been, those girls that hear that are going to be like, that is me, I'm going. And then the next quarter, you do the exact same funnel. And now you're talking to the older woman. And now the numbers inside of your things get bigger and bigger. Okay. I'm following?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now let's just talk briefly about marketing, right? So there is a process on Instagram that I hinted you in on early on. I watched you do it and boy, did I see things take off. So I'm just going to share a little and you can speak for it if you want, but call out your person before you start a post. The reason why is algorithms are listening to the captions, watching the captions and listening to what's on there in terms of when she starts off, like, maybe it's, hey ladies, and sobriety. And she's announcing that in those different posts. All of a sudden the algorithm with every single reel is hearing that. And so no longer is she talking about how tired she is one day and, oh, next day we need to get out of bed. And all those things apply to her coaching that she does. But she wove the same key elements, words, tags, whatever, into every single one. And that is how you start to grow fast. All right. So that's just Instagram. But we leave them at the door if we're hoping that only views is going to bring them in. I've had so many clients now go viral and they do it right. They've got their lead magnet. They've got their DM process in place. They know how to do it. And we're no longer missing those because it's heartbreaking for me to see someone go viral and there's not a single lead magnet in there. Right. So those are easy.
I did that.
Yep. It happens.
I did that. first before talking to you.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. It happens. But those are kind of the get going next level. And maybe on the next show, maybe you come back in 2-3 months and we talk about some serious next steps. So let me get this off screen share. All right. And I just want to give this conversation to you to ask any other questions after I've spoke about different things. And then we're going to lead people back to you. So do you have any other questions that maybe I didn't touch on?
I think the only other question I have, and it's kind of regarding the same topic. So I know that you said to lead with serving, and that I am getting super good at. So that definitely makes sense. And I'm going to do it better, do it better and harder.
Yeah.
But like when you started, did you have like that limiting? Because I just now, like a week ago, quit working full time and like decided to put my whole heart into this because I've been being called to it for so long to just finally do it, right? But did
Mhm,
you have that
mhm.
like limiting, like, well, what if it doesn't work, and what if it is just the few clients, and what if it
Right.
never happens again? Like,
Yeah.
how do you stop that
Mhm.
or change that?
Yeah, I think that's really good. Excellent question. So I guess I want to be real. So when I started, I was a director of nursing at the same time, and to give up that income was really scary because I was only making about $20,000 when I gave it up. So I mean, I was putting our family at a big disadvantage to what we were used to. Now, I did have a husband who made really good money, so we weren't going to be in trouble, but I personally didn't want to affect our family's income.
It's
So I
kind
was
of the
okay.
same, like we're
So
not going to be
you're
hurting, but
right. So I wanted to be I looked at it more like, Lord, I want to do this the right way. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I want to keep going on this. And so I ended up getting certified as a PIO instructor. So what I did was, since I wasn't making very good money at first, I thought, okay, well, what makes sense with my business and will help me as an individual and potentially my clients? Well, I needed to exercise. And so I knew that health and wellness was a big part of my business at that time. So I paid $300. I got certified as a coach and I taught PIO for probably 2 years and well into when I was making good money, and then finally gave it up and work on my own and have a mirror at home that I exercise with alone. But I'll say, so potentially you might have to have a side hustle, and that's okay. But if you have a side hustle, make it be in something that brings glory to God. My body is a temple, right? And
yes.
so, is there something along that line, right? As well as it could be a skill. So,
Yep. I
you
think I actually messaged you about it earlier, so that kind of
yeah,
works.
yes. So
Okay.
that's another thing, a skill that you need for your business. And I wasn't going to let the cat out of the bag that you said that, but yeah, I mean, we do this. We hire interns in our business with our clients so that they have money on the side while they're learning their trade. But the great thing about that is you master, you're getting paid to master a skill you need to master
Yes.
your skill, right? It's such a win-win. So both of those are really great options. And then the last thing is it's that you really probably don't want to hear this, but do it afraid. Like constantly do it with the Lord and take him with you and let yourself kind of be afraid. But just do what you need to do. And always, always, always do what's good and right for your body. Your body is a temple. Do what's good and right for your body. And you have what age is your daughter? Is she like 9 or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
two older girls, but yes, I have a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old at home.
okay. So, I mean, I really could see also bringing them into the company so that you can work faster, harder, and they're getting something out of it. So later you can pay them, but to grow fast, you honestly need teams. And
Yes.
so you may have a client in your master class that you're holding that really wants to join, but honestly, she does not have the money. And yet, wait a minute, if I need to 10x this, I need someone else to help me on all this computer stuff. or I need someone else to do my posts. So you bring in that person as an intern for you, which blesses them, gives you a client, and then also, they're either paying near nothing, or they're working a lot. But anyway, this is good because it helps your business grow faster. In all reality, the fastest people that I can see do and start a business well is 3 months. Our elevation people, when they come in, if they have nothing, we build their website, we build their programs, we build their social media campaigns, we get their email campaigns going, their automation set up, and all of that. When we're working fast and hard, it's a solid 3 months. So that's what you can expect. Good question.
Okay.
Yeah. All righty. So guys, we need to find out more about Shana and how we can get to her. Please refer her. If you need her, jump into this thing that she's going to offer you, as well as just go find her on Instagram and at least try one of these free one-on-ones where she can sit and listen to you, sit with you like Jesus did, and listen to you a little bit. So Shana, tell us a little bit about how we can get back to you.
Yes. So I am on Instagram under Shana Epps, Controlled Chaos. And also, I'm going to be having a webinar on August 19th at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be going over the 3 easiest steps to get and stay sober. So this is something that I'm really going to go into, like the different super, super good ways to start your sobriety journey. And these are amazing tips, and we go like deep into them on their own. You could get sober using this plan, and even just following me on Instagram or through Instagram, you can get into my free women's group, which is super, super supportive, like 700 women helping each other every day. I have so many free ways to get and stay sober. Working with me one-on-one is obviously, I love working with people. It is my heart. And most people who really are struggling need that
Yeah.
support one-on-one. I know that I needed it. I
Yeah.
definitely needed it. But just even the webinar is really good tips. Like I said, I worked in recovery for 18 years and I'm now nationally certified, and I've been through it, right? So I get it. I know the
Yeah.
different ways, and there is no one way for every single person to be able to get sober. It's going to be a combination of different things. And for me, it was AA, support, God, and medication, right?
Mhm.
Without any of those 3 things,
Mhm.
I would fail. I would fail
Mhm.
today if I stopped using even my support system, if I
Yeah.
stopped counting on God.
Yep.
Um, so it was a mix of things, and it might be that way for someone else too. So
Mhm.
if you've tried it and you failed, you just haven't found the right combination. And coming to the webinar will give you an amazing start, because I go through basically all of the ways to combine mind, body, spirit to get healthy.
Really good. Really good. All right. Thank you so much, Shana. And that is going to do it for this episode of Your Divine Business.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Yes, you did.